I think it's time for some lethal tri-tip. Let's do it. What's going on, guys? Matt over here, Lethal Garage, and today we're changing it up. I've talked about this a little bit on Instagram, but I want to bring you a video of me smoking some delicious meats out on the Lethal Smoker for you guys to check out, eat, maybe not eat, for me to eat, and you guys to see how I do it. So in this instance, I have a Smoky Mountain massive smoker, and I have it all prepped and ready to go. I'm not necessarily going to go through every prep step there is, but I'm using what's called the minion method. I'm trying to use the littlest amount of coals possible so I can get a nice slow cook, because a tri-tip can cook really fast. It's not a very thick meat, and if you don't keep the temps down, it will cook really fast. So the idea here is try to get it to go 3-4 hours total, and that way we get a nice tender tri-tip. I have my coal starter here, using my solo stove. Works really good to get the coals going. Put about 20 chunks of lump coal in here, and you can see they're getting nice and hot and burning. It takes about 15-20 minutes for this to get started, so it's already off and going. And we'll basically, what we'll do is once the fire settles down and we just got hot coals, we go ahead and we pour it right in the center here, so that way the heat is focused on the center, and then as you know, long-term cooking goes on, it spreads across and ignites the rest of these coals and keeps it hot. But again, the biggest thing is we want to control our temps, which is mostly done by these flaps right out here. There's 3 of them. To get the temp to go down, you close them, and if you want more heat, you open them. Pretty straightforward. Same with the top, but outside of that, we need to prep the rest of the grill while we get the coals heated up. Today's meat choice, a nice 3 1/4 pound tri-tip. I typically let my meat marinate for 24 hours. This one's been marinating for about, I'd say 16-17 hours. Just using a typical salt, pepper, little tiny bit of paprika, a couple other things mixed within, some garlic, and just to give it a little bit of flavor. I like them, let them sit overnight, and you can see I did do a little bit of trimming. I do leave some fat still on the bottom, because this will be the bottom side taking a lot of the heat, so it will render down. You'll see most of this disappear. Over a 4-hour cook, if it was shorter, I'd trim a little bit more off. Now, we can't really cook without proper tools, and I'm a big fan of digital thermometers. In this instance, I'm using my Thermal Pro. I have a couple of these, so if I'm cooking more than 2 pieces of meat, it makes it really easy. In this instance, I'll be tracking the temp of the smoker itself and the temp of the meat. You could see our target temp for the heat will be 190, and our initial pull for the tri-tip will be 110. So what we're going to do is we're going to cook the tri-tip to 110 degrees. We'll then pull it from the smoker and throw it on my barbecue and sear it. So we'll sear both sides, a couple minutes on both sides, and then we'll go ahead and throw it back on the smoker to let it finish. Today we'll pull probably about 148, 150 range, maybe less. We'll see how long it takes to cook. You know, the faster it cooks, the more temp I'll let it go. The slower it cooks, I'll pull it at a lower temp. So we'll just have to see how low we can keep the heat going today. And even through those gloves, that's getting me. So go ahead and pour this right in the center. Now at this point, I have all of my lower opening vents at about 20%. And this is just while the grill is heating up. I don't want it to heat up too quickly. But you can see how the coals are right in there, right in the center, and they'll span out over a couple hour time range. And we'll go ahead and get our thermometer in. So our probe 1 is our primary temp. Slide it right on in. And for the next 15-20 minutes, we're gonna watch the temp, see how hot it gets. The biggest thing here is controlling your temperature right off the get-go. So right now I'm feeling pretty good. We slowed down the heat quite a bit. We got it to stall at about 171, which is great. In this instance, when we pull the lid off, we're going to allow a lot of fresh air into the smoker, which is going to stoke the heat a little bit. So you got to keep that in mind as well. But what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pull the top and we're gonna get our meat over here. We've let this get up to room temperature after marinating for 16 hours. You can see it leaves a nice lot of juice. Gonna go ahead and lay this on the grill. And now we want to get our heat probe in here, and you want to stab this into the thickest part of the meat. We're gonna get this down in here. So we got it right in here, right in here into the thick part of the meat. And we'll go ahead and get the lid back on. Now you may be asking, Lethal, this is the smoker. You've talked about nothing about the smoking side of things. You are correct, and this is the time we're gonna throw in a little bit of hickory. So everyone likes their own flavor of wood. It brings a little bit of a taste into the meat depending on how heavy and how much you use. As you can see, I use a few light pieces here, but we can go ahead and open our vent. And what I do is I strategically throw wood around the edges of the minion area. So that way we get smoke in the early parts. We'll get one piece in there to start smoking instantly. But ideally, you want to get all your smoke into your meat early, because once the meat hits 140, the meat sears itself and you're not going to get any smoke penetration. At this point, our therm probe becomes our watch method, because you don't want to take the lid off of a smoker once you got it all encapsulated and going. So we'll be watching the temps from here. We can see the internal temp of the meat's 44 and the smoker's at 167 rising on up. So again, I'm going to open those grates just a little bit. I do fear if I do that, it's going to get hotter than I want it to, but we'll take the risk and try to get it a little bit closer to 190. Okay, we're about an hour and 45 minutes in. Temps still holding 185, meat temps at 99. So we're getting to that point of needing to warm up the barbecue for the searing. It's cooking a little bit faster than I'd hoped, even at 185, but it is what it is. You know, you just never know how the meat's gonna cook. You could try to control it, but I'm thinking maybe 175 might have been the more ideal temp here. 2.5 hours in. I was kind of hoping to hit 3 hours before this stage, but it happens. So we're at 110 temp on the meat. We're gonna go ahead and sear it. Ooh, it's looking nice and juicy. Take our temp probe out. In this instance, I'm just gonna stab it. Ooh. Drippy drip. Drippy drip. Oh, I closed the lid. Now it's time to sear it. Minute on each side. Bottom side was a little fatty, so Flames enjoyed that one. Keep it going. Whoa, it's getting hot. Fat side. Likes to catch fire a little bit. We got the flames all the way on low, but it's still over 400 degrees, so it's getting a nice sear on the meat. Cook it all in. Let that cook for another minute. What do you think, Zach? Is it gonna be good?
Yeah.
Dude, your hair is crazy today. Oh, this is gonna be juicy. Get a good stab on it. And bring it back over. Get our temperature probe back in. See if we can get it into the center of the thick part of the meat. And get our smoke back on. So now that it's seared, it probably picked up a little bit of heat on the inside. I'm expecting it to be in the close to 120 range, and it's beeping because it's over 110. So we'll see, what's it at? Well, it's only 114, so that's good. So now we'll adjust that temp. And we'll get that up into the 148 range. Let's target 148 on this. Let's see how long it takes to get there. At this point, we're just letting her cook. No peeking, no looking. That's why we have the temperature thermometer. The sear was a big one. Get it cooked in, get it locked in, and now at this point, we're expecting it just to slowly cook. We're gonna try to maintain temp so it doesn't go above 190. Try to let this cook. The longer we get it to cook, the juicier and tendier it's gonna be. Now this is a tri-tip, it's not a super tough meat, so I mean you could cook it fast, you could stoke the flame on this and get it done real quick if you wanted to, but in this instance I'm going for as tender as I possibly can. Currently targeting 148, I'll probably let it get into the 150s. I wanted a little, I mean, rare would be like 145, 146. I'll get it just a little bit above that because I know my wife doesn't like the meat as rare as I do, in hopes that the thicker portions will still be rare and the thinner portions will be a little more medium like she likes. So that's the goal. That's what we're aiming for. Slow and steady wins the race. No peeking. Okay, we're almost 4 hours into the cook and we hit the stall. So it's been at 144 for a good 25 minutes right now. The heat's actually been slowly creeping up too, which is interesting because normally when the heat creeps up, it almost forces it out of the stall, but it is what it is. But things are going well and we're in 4 hours, so I'm pretty happy. Well, temps are dropping pretty dramatically outside. We got it's been hovering at 205 and it's been holding that, actually just went to 148. We're gonna call that done. I don't want to dry out the meat anymore, and it probably already is. But you can kind of see it's looking pretty good. Pull out the heat probe and get her inside to be wrapped. So we got the meat pulled, and now it's time for the most important thing, and that's letting the meat rest. Okay, so we let the meat rest. So now it's time to open her up and see what she's gonna do. Ooh, she smells good. So. It's pretty tender. I don't know, tri-tip, I don't like too crazy tender, but we'll see. Ooh, it's nice and juicy. See the color. Look at the juice just oozing out of that. That's good. So my wife likes it super thin cut.
Yes, I do.
So you can see we got a good smoke ring on the meat, so that's good. Now it's gonna come down to how does it taste. Let's find out. Oh, that was good. That is bueno. Well, leave the wife's going in for it.
Oh, can you help me out?
Sorry, babe, I didn't cut it good enough. What do you think? That was good. But there you go. That is some lethal tri-tip right there. That's how I do it. Again, actually, I didn't share the seasoning with you guys. This is the first time I've actually used this seasoning for my tri-tip, but I'm using Grizzly Joe's. You can get this online at Grizzly Joe's. I'll put a link down in the description for you. I normally use this on burgers, but man, that flavor tastes really good on this tri-tip. You like it, babe?
Mm-hmm.
That's good. So, thanks for checking out the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you guys want me to do more barbecue videos, I could do brisket, we could do ribs, we could do some pork shoulder. I don't know. We can try all sorts of stuff. Leave it down in the comments if you want to see more. Until next time, guys. See you on the road. I honestly can't believe how good this turned out. You can see a nice little fat rendered down nice. It's all juicy. You can see the smoke rings all throughout. Oh, so good. I have to do a lethal garage night where we make this for everybody.